Zion Williamson, he looks fat. I saw the brother go to the free throw line. He looked like he had a belly. Fat, out of shape. He can't stop eating.
Wow. You know, Stephen A., you went from this to this, and now you're ESPN's #1 nutritionist? Stephen A.'s blunt point was that Zion could benefit from some weight loss. The difference in ability and availability when players take control of their diet is clear. But Zion is in a unique situation. He has missed nearly 60% of his games in the first 4 years of his NBA career, which is why he is now contractually obligated to have a combined body weight and body fat percentage under 295. Then, in 2024, we saw Zion get in the best shape of his career and play his most games in an NBA season, all before pulling his hamstring in the play-in tournament and missing another playoff run. But what if Zion decided to take a very Hollywood shortcut, a cheat code, a super drug for fat loss that could save Zion's basketball career? But don't ignore the fine print, because this drug is becoming so popular, so fast, that many wonder if it's going to be banned by pro sports leagues like the NBA. We did the research, interviewed a sports medicine doctor, and have uncovered the truth behind the miracle weight loss drug Ozempic. I'm Josh Silverstein, and this is Clutch Call. Sports have always been a staple of the entertainment world, but these two industries have never been more aligned than in 2024. I mean, come on. Britney and Patrick Mahomes on Netflix, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on everything, the roast of Tom Brady. A Hollywood weight loss drug is really on brand for sports today. But what exactly are people getting themselves into? I spoke to Dr. Stephen Narvey, an orthopedic surgeon with extensive training in sports medicine, about Ozempic. Now, Dr. Stephen Narvey also happens to be my brother-in-law, and I know what you're thinking. Lucky him, a pup. You might also feel it's a conflict of interest for me to be interviewing a member of my family for this. But guess what's an even bigger conflict of interest? Trying to find a sports medicine expert not being paid by Ozempic's manufacturer, Novo Nordisk, who can actually give you an objective opinion about the drug. A recent expose by journalist Li Fang showed that Novo Nordisk and other pharmaceutical giants are on a PR blitz to promote drugs like Ozempic. So much so that it's hard to know which doctors you can trust and who's being paid by Novo to promote the drugs they're giving advice about. Dr. Narvey is not being paid by Novo Nordisk to promote Ozempic or by any other pharmaceutical companies promoting other weight loss drugs. Plus, he knows that I'll spit in his food at Thanksgiving if he lies to me, so we can take him at his word. So what is your word, Dr. Narvey?
So Ozempic is a medicine that was primarily designed to help patients with diabetes. The primary function of Ozempic and Wegovy, which is the same medicine but in a higher dose, is to bind to receptors in our body that are naturally there. There's a molecule that binds to these receptors and causes the pancreas to release insulin, which brings down glucose levels. And that same molecule or hormone also causes our stomach to empty more slowly, and this helps suppress hunger.
But you had celebrities at drugs, and when Hollywood discovered the skinny potential, TV and film stars came flocking for it like the flu shot. Celebrities started doing whatever they could to get Ozempic. The heavy price tag? Not a Hollywood problem. The ethical concerns of bogarting doses of a medication meant for people with type 2 diabetes? Definitely not Hollywood's problem. You know another group of famous people who have enough money to do whatever they want and also tend to put themselves above other people on occasion? Professional athletes. So it stands to reason that Ozempic has potential in sports. The question now is truly how much? The distribution of these drugs is moving a lot faster than the ethical issues surrounding their use. So maybe it's time to throw the challenge flag and take a closer look before it's too late. The drug is not without its health risks, even for athletes. Dr. Narvey made that clear. In fact, the side effects that most people don't know about Ozempic actually might do more harm than good for athletes.
Ozempic does cause people to lose weight, but they can also lose muscle when you lose weight. It's not completely just saying eliminating the fat. So as an athlete, anything that's reducing your muscle mass would be, in my opinion, counterproductive to being a good athlete who spends a lot of time training, trying to build up muscle mass.
A drug that cuts down your muscle mass sounds like you're doing a reverse Barry Bonds. So what's the problem with a drug that's the opposite of steroids? Well, what about boxers desperately trying to make pre-fight weigh-ins? Or what about athletes who struggle with weight issues, like Zion? Is it fair for him to control his weight with Ozempic? All major sports leagues have strict laws about unfair muscle gain. But will pro sports leagues also ban drugs that do the opposite and help you more easily lose weight by unnatural means?
That's a really good question. I think the primary concern with growth hormone and anabolic steroids is that they're giving people an unfair advantage in terms of how much muscle you can gain. Obviously, depending on the sport, having less weight may or may not be advantageous.
So let's say you're an athlete with diabetes who actually needs the drug. There are still some issues to look out for. What if you break a bone on the court and need immediate surgery? Well, if you're on Ozempic, you can't.
Because Ozempic slows down the gastric emptying, patients are actually at a higher risk of anesthesia if they don't stop these medications early enough. Oftentimes, for elective surgery, you have to not eat or drink anything within 8 to 12 hours of surgery. Those patients actually need to be off the medicine for a week because it increases their anesthetic risk. I don't think a lot of patients know that, and I also don't think a lot of doctors entirely think that through. I've had surgeries almost get canceled because patients took their Ozempic within a few days of the surgery, and the anesthesiologists were very leery about it, especially with some of these more violent sports, like football or anything like that, where patients can actually have fractures, which we typically want to intervene on sooner rather than later. That would definitely be a concern.
And the list of possible risks just keeps going.
Patients can get nausea, diarrhea.
And going.
People can have allergies to the medication.
And going.
It can cause pancreatitis, which can make you very, very sick.
Okay, that's enough. Thanks, Dr. Narvi.
I think a lot of times with new medications, whether it's for weight loss or anything, you have to weigh the benefits to the risks, and everyone just hones in, oh my gosh, I take this medication, I'm gonna lose all this weight. That may be, but you have to balance that with the fact that there are side effects to everything.
But the cherry on top of this diet sundae is the ethics behind all of this. Are we really moving in a direction where professional athletes taking prescription drugs meant for diabetes patients is normalized? At some point, leagues like the NFL and NBA may have to address Ozempic. Should they ban it? Approve it? Keep it sketchy and sexy?
Big concern with what gets banned is performance-enhancing medications that allow one person who's taking medicine to have some sort of advantage over another. I don't see this as being necessarily performance enhancing, but it certainly, brings forward a lot of questions about what medicines people should be on, ethical considerations about taking a medicine for potentially an off-label use. Is that ethical or not? I don't know that it's necessarily performance enhancing, but it's an interesting ethical perspective.
New information about Ozempic is coming out every day. Even since my interview with Dr. Narvi, a new study came out which revealed Ozempic has anti-inflammatory benefits, which would imply another positive for athletes. But again, the deeper we dig, the more questions we'll find. The main takeaway here is that there are still too many unknowns with Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and other semaglutide drugs. And with the growing list of banned substances in pro sports, these weight loss drugs might need to be added until it's proven they don't unlevel the playing field. Athletes are always looking for an edge in the game and loopholes in the rules. So the longer these drugs go unregulated, the higher the chance that their benefits are going to be manipulated in some way. This drug can help Zion and thousands of other athletes. But every sports league is now on the clock to set a precedent for this unprecedented superdrug. It's on them to determine if it's fair to help athletes like this. It's time they made a clutch call.